I just hate that they never got into it, man. It's always the phony, and they're doing the phony fake Vikings rather than why they live this lifestyle, why they honor this life. That's always my problem, bro. It's like, can we just when do we stop being cartoonish and start being real?
What's going on, everybody? Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of the Wrestling Outlaws. I am here with, he's Vince Russo is nice and buffed and shoulders up, man. He's been doing a lot of shrugs today or something. Oh, man, he broke his back doing all those shoulder shrugs. We got Vince Russo, we got EC3, we got someone lurking in the shadows of EC3. Who was the person? Who was that lurking in the shadow?
Oh, he's got the Illuminati third eye, bro. The pan.
Yes.
Look at him. Yes, he's throwing up the Illuminati sign, bro. Be careful.
Wow, be
careful.
The
pineal gland is open. That is the one of two groovy grizzlies. They accompany Man Bun Jesus to the ring. So Man Bun Jesus is a super awesome, overly talented, up-and-coming wrestler with Exodus Pro Wrestling.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
He couldn't be here if the Panda came. So
the Panda came in instead. Wow, yeah. Very nice.
He's on a lot of insight in wrestling too, so this will be good.
Wow, very nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into it. So let's shoot from the hip, ladies and gentlemen.
Bam!
Wow. So Eric from the Viking Raiders just had successful surgery. Let's start off here. Do you know Eric, or of course Raymond Rowe? We know him as Raymond Rowe.
Yeah, I know Ray, aka Eric, very well. You know, man, we came up on the Indies together, German suplexing each other. I guess that was a bad idea, right, Ray? But you know, he's a Cleveland OG.
He is.
We come up together. I've known him a very long time. I'm very happy to hear that he's on the road to recovery, because neck injuries are no joke. It sucks that it happens at such a young age too, but I do hope. I know him. He works hard. He'll be back, and when he does, I don't think he'll be too upset because he gets to take a vacation. He has this nice spot in the woods. He likes to play Viking and go hunting with his wife. They have a new child, so maybe it's a good thing to have some of that time to decompress and fix himself.
EC3, let's talk about how the money looked like downside versus like draw, right? So that's a big thing when it comes to wrestlers. So a lot of wrestlers don't like being gone, because when they're gone in injury, they have to settle for downside, which, you know, could be, you know, a couple thousand a week, 3,000 a week, maybe, as opposed to the draw, which is, you know, significantly higher when you're on television. So what do you think he feels, and how did you feel, you know, during that, you know, monetary structure when you were off television or running during 24/7 championship times?
The dark days, you know, the near like wanting to, you know, execute myself days were so fun. No, but the downside was good. It was really good. And I'm not sure exactly how their structure is with compared to their draw versus side, but I think that is something sort of the past where the downsides are pretty equitable, unless you're like a top guy and you're on every show. It's probably negligible, and then I think he'll be okay while he's pursuing his health. So that's the most important part.
Good. Vince, your thoughts on Eric or, you know, Raymond Rowe? He was in ROH.
What a name of a Viking!
Yes. I am a Viking. What's your name, Eric?
Nice to meet you.
I just hate, because I know both of those guys are really into that stuff as a shoot, as is the wife. I just hate that they never got into it, man. It's always the phony, and they're doing the phony fake Vikings rather than why they live this lifestyle, why they honor this life. That's always my problem, bro. It's like, can we just, when do we stop being cartoonish and start being real? Like, this is a real gimmick with these guys, man. Let's really get into it, and let's really understand it, and let's really find out while they embrace it. But you know how, Vince works. Oh, if you're a Viking, bro, you're wearing the horns and you're Eric the Red, and it's all that silly
language.
I'd love to really learn. I'm sorry. I'd love to really learn why these guys embrace that lifestyle. That would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
What's that called? LARP? Is
I
it
don't
LARP?
know.
Live action role playing? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Yeah. I think you got a point there, Vince. I mean, I'm much interested in knowing more about the lifestyle
Me too.
than just, them being slapped in yet another match.
And I
doesn't mean
guarantee
anything.
you, if I knew that lifestyle, I would be fans of theirs.
Mm.
I mean, that's usually how it works with me. When I know a little something about you, that makes me either like you or not like you.
Sure.
The thing with when they were War Machine, right? In Ring of Honor, they were Viking-esque, but it wasn't like, hey, we're Vikings. Like, no, you're a human. Like, Vikings aren't real in this day and age, but you fight like Vikings, and they're vicious warriors. And like War Machine were badasses, tossing people around, dropping them on their heads. Whoops, again. But yeah, once that becomes what they are and who they really are, which is far more War Machine than the Viking Raiders. But once they get in the hands of crazy old Vince, he doesn't. There's no reality to him, and what he sees is 80s parody. As opposed to, these are human beings with depth who honor a certain way of doing their business and living their life, which everybody can get into if creative wasn't so horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, they were huge in Ring of Honor and New Japan, and they had really, really good careers there. I mean, so they were so popular, of course, that they came to WWE because of their time in Ring of Honor and New Japan. When Vince kind of gets his hands on people like War Machine, right? Is he looking? I know, and granted, Vince McMahon has been. He's had some home runs when it comes to certain things like The Undertaker and so forth. But when he gets his hands on like War Machine, and both of y'all have worked with Vince, you, Vince, very closely. What's his big picture idea of someone like a War Machine? Or is it just like he's got this bag o like misfit thoughts that just wants to tickle his inner child or something like that? What is he thinking?
He stereotypes everybody, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody. It's the stereotype, man, with across the board. Go ahead, EC3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, like he never came up with it, so he was inherited then as this Viking thing. So, the Undertaker was kind of his idea, so that's how he can see a vision through, as opposed to somebody else's idea being handed to somebody who didn't A, create it, so is less invested in it, and B, doesn't get it because he hasn't been outside the 80s since 83.
Yeah. Do you think he purposely tries to lower or even, dare I say, ruin something that's going well, that's outside of his grasp or that he didn't create?
Yes.
You think he purposely does that?
I do. It's insane to me. I think we've had conversations multiple times about that, myself excluded so many other times, where like I don't understand the value of paying people money is to make you money, and you try to increase their value as much as possible. But there's sick, twisted sociopaths there that sometimes destroy things just because they like to play God and play with people's emotions, and it's horrible. And follow your dreams, kids.
Yeah. Do you think so unfortunately, seemingly, it seems like they are just two of the latest victims of unfortunately being very diluted, dare I say, by Vince McMahon.
We all, like even myself coming back, like we take that risk knowing the financial in the end will be bountiful, hopefully. So you do have to trade in some of your soul or your creativity or your honor or your definitely your dignity to cash those checks sometimes. And you can't really feel bad for any talent because they are cashing the checks, and it sucks, but at the same time, like that's cash versus creative, right?
Sure. East, did you see when you got the call to come to WWE first with NXT the takeover, spotlight and on the crowd and so forth. And did you see an end game? Like, did you see a big picture, or was it more like, sure, I'll take the guaranteed money. It's probably more than I'm already making by far. We'll just kind of go through, we'll just kind of roll with the punches, and hopefully there's a light at the end of this tunnel? Or did you see something big picture from the beginning?
I took a pay cut to go to NXT. And going as...
From TNA? You took a pay cut from TNA to go? Interesting.
Yep. And by doing that, though, is because at the end of the tunnel would hopefully be the very, very high reward that I knew that if I had who I am and what I was, under their guidance and probably tutelage and umbrella and brand, that what I've taken and made practically my own could be inherited and exemplified to an extremely high level and be uberly successful. So that was my mistake, thinking anybody would be there looking for me, because the realization was when I came there, I was already over. I had a good run and success. I became nobody's project to create. I was, you know what I mean? Like a mercenary in a sense. I was paid to be there, and by not being a creation of anybody pushing for you, like you're there, you're in the talks, but there's nobody really thriving to see you succeed because nobody can take credit for your success.
Yeah, it's a fair point.